Donald Trump. He's at it again. The GOP presidential frontrunner once again floating the idea that he may run as a third-party candidate.
I signed a pledge, but it's a double-edged pledge. And as far as I'm concerned, they're in default of their pledge.
Of course, that pledge Trump mentioned is the one all candidates signed back in September, agreeing to run as a Republican and support whoever the party's candidate is. Republican National Committee Chair Ryan Priebus goes on the record. Nice to see you, sir.
Hey, Greta, how are you?
And you and Donald Trump are friendly. You got a nice shout-out after you won New Hampshire.
Listen, Donald Trump and I have been just fine. But, you know, the issue with the pledge is simply that if you're going to run as a Republican and avail yourself of the process, come to the convention, you ought to be able to say, I'm going to support the Republican Party. That's what the pledge says. So all the candidates agree to that. I expect all the candidates to continue to agree to that, and I'm not worried about this at all.
Well, he gave himself sort of out if he says if he was not treated fairly, whatever, as he defines it.
Well, but the pledge is simple. I mean, there are two parties, basically, that run this type of process in place. You know, the debates, the convention, the Republicans and the Democrats. And each of them have rules in place for that process. And so if you want to run as a Republican, you have to pledge that you're going to be supporting the Republican nominee. That's pretty fair. I think it's pretty standard, and I'm not worried about this whatsoever.
All right. The other night at the debate, there was some applause, and he made a remark that the crowd was stacked with donors.
Donors. Well, and so just so that we're clear on this, on how these tickets are allocated, I know this is not the most exciting topic in the world, but there is there's actually a formula for this. So all of the candidates, there's 1,600 people in the audience. Each candidate gets 107 tickets, so that's 642 tickets are there for the candidates. The RNC had a total of 10 donors in the audience from our ticket allocation, 10. So that's about 0.5% of the entire audience were RNC donors. The fact is, here's the reality. When you have 600 people that are in the room that are there as guests of the candidates, guess what? They're going to be pretty excited to either be for their candidate or against other candidates. That's pretty natural. It's what happens. That's what this is, and I think it's pretty normal. And it's going to continue. It's going to continue on at the next debates. Each candidate is going to get a candidate allotment. They should.
All right. We're both from Wisconsin. There's a phrase in Wisconsin called herding cats. Right. Do you sort of feel like that's your job right now, that you're herding cats?
You know what? I am herding cats, but it's difficult because you can't react too strongly to any one particular thing. And, you know, you just have to be steady, be patient, be open-minded. That's what I say every day. Be patient, be open-minded, and be steady. Every day, that's what I tell myself.
You have to admit, it's a wild ride.
It's a wild ride, but it's fun. People say, oh, you got such a horrible job. I think it's one of the best jobs there is right now in politics today. And you know what? It's drama-filled. It's a little wild, but eventually we're going to have a nominee, and we're going to be able to run against either Hillary Clinton, who's facing the FBI, or a socialist from Vermont. I like our chances.
Mr. Chairman, nice to see you, sir.
You bet.